Supreme Commander Vaxthor stood aboard the bridge of the Kraxan Empire's flagship, the Eternal Dominion, his scaled hands clasped behind his back as he studied the holographic projection of the unremarkable solar system before him. His species' characteristic bioluminescent patches pulsed with anticipation. Another conquest was about to begin. Preliminary scans complete, Supreme Commander, announced First Officer Zixra, her crystalline data tablet casting prismatic patterns across her silver uniform. The third planet shows signs of primitive civilization. They've barely reached their moon, and their attempts at space exploration are rudimentary at best. Vaxthor's mandibles clicked in amusement. The Kraxan Empire had conquered thousands of worlds across 12 galaxies, and this one would be no different. Their initial scans showed a fractured species still burning fossil fuels, fighting amongst themselves over resources, and barely maintaining a handful of crude satellites in orbit. "Show me their global communication network," he ordered, watching as streams of data filled the holographic display. Earth's internet painted a picture of a species obsessed with entertainment, social media, and cat videos. Their military capabilities seemed limited to conventional weapons and basic nuclear arsenals, nothing that could challenge the Empire's quantum shield technology. Deep within a mountain complex in Colorado, Dr. Sarah Chen watched the same data stream with a very different perspective. The massive underground facility hummed with activity as hundreds of technicians and scientists monitored the approaching Kraxan fleet through quantum sensors disguised as natural background radiation. "They're buying it completely," she said to General Marcus Rodriguez, who stood beside her watching the main display. "Every fake satellite transmission, every doctored internet signal, they're seeing exactly what we want them to see." The general nodded, his weathered face illuminated by the holographic displays surrounding them. 70 years of preparation since we recovered their scout ship in Brazil. 70 years of keeping our true capabilities hidden, letting them think we're just another primitive species ready for harvest. The facility they stood in was just one of thousands scattered across the globe, all connected through quantum-entangled communications that were completely undetectable to conventional scanning technology. Humanity had learned from the crashed scout ship not just about Kraxan technology, but about their empire's methodology, how they identified, evaluated, and conquered new worlds. "Status of the Artemis defense grid?" Sarah asked, bringing up another holographic display. The young lieutenant responded promptly. "All stations report ready, Doctor. The nanoswarm is fully deployed and cloaked. Quantum capacitors are charged to 98% and rising. The Kraxan fleet won't detect anything until it's too late." Back on the Eternal Dominion, Vaxthor reviewed the invasion plans with his command staff. "Begin broadcasting the standard surrender protocols," he ordered. "When they inevitably resist, we'll follow the usual procedure, eliminate their largest military installation as a demonstration, then begin resource extraction while processing the population for labor camps." His senior staff nodded in agreement, having performed this same routine countless times before. None of them noticed the quantum fluctuations in space around their ships, invisible ripples caused by Earth's defensive grid powering up, masked by what appeared to be natural solar radiation. In her private office, Sarah opened a secure quantum channel to the other defense facilities around the world. The faces of her counterparts appeared in hovering displays. Scientists and military leaders from every nation, all part of humanity's greatest secret. The Kraxan Empire is about to learn why humanity has always been so fascinated with stories about alien invasions, she said, her voice steady. "We haven't been imaging these scenarios for entertainment. We've been rehearsing." A proximity alert flashed across all screens. The Kraxan fleet had crossed the orbit of Mars, their massive ships decelerating for their approach to Earth. They were about to spring a trap that humanity had spent 3 generations preparing, a defensive strategy that would turn their own technological arrogance against them. Sarah thought about her grandmother, who had been one of the first scientists to study the crashed scout ship. She would have loved to see this moment, when humanity finally revealed that their apparent technological backwardness was the greatest deception in human history. All stations, initiate final countdown, General Rodriguez announced. Let's show the galaxy why you should never judge a species by its internet history. The trap was set. The Craxan Empire was about to learn that they weren't the first advanced civilization to discover Earth. They were just the first to announce their presence before attacking. And that would prove to be their ultimate undoing. The quantum displays within Luna Base Alpha flickered with activity as Commander Diana Patel watched the Craxan fleet's approach through advanced sensor arrays hidden beneath the moon's surface. What the aliens saw as a few primitive research stations on the lunar surface was actually the tip of a massive military installation that extended kilometers into the moon's crust. Tracking 37 capital ships and approximately 200 support vessels, reported Lieutenant James Chen, his fingers dancing across holographic controls. Their formation suggests they're following standard invasion protocols, exactly as the Brazil crash data predicted. Diana allowed herself a small smile. The Craxan Empire's greatest weakness was their absolute conviction in their own superiority. They'd been using the same tactical playbook for centuries, never needing to adapt or evolve their strategies because they'd never faced real resistance. Status of the quantum shield network, she asked, watching as the massive fleet drew closer to Earth's orbit. All nodes are operational and synchronized, James responded. The masking field is holding steady. They still think they're only detecting our primitive satellite network. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, Dr. Maya Rodriguez supervised final preparations in the Mariana Command Center. Massive quantum computers processed real-time data from billions of nanoscale sensors scattered throughout the solar system, building a complete picture of the invasion fleet's capabilities. Their technology hasn't advanced much since the Brazil incident, she noted, studying the analysis. They've grown complacent. No significant improvements to their quantum shielding in over 50 years. The facility around her was a testament to humanity's true technological achievements. Quantum reactors powered by zero-point energy provided virtually unlimited power. Artificial gravity systems, reverse-engineered from the crashed scout ship, but significantly improved upon, kept the deep-sea base stable despite enormous pressure from the ocean above. Dr. Rodriguez called out Senior Technician Wei Chang. We're detecting unusual emissions from their flagship. They're preparing to broadcast their surrender demands. Maya nodded, remembering the historical recordings from the Brazil crash. Right on schedule. Patch it through to all command centers. Let's make sure everyone's ready for Phase 2. In orbit around Jupiter, the camouflage stations of the Deep Space Defense Network continued their silent vigil. Captain Michael O'Connor watched the Craxan fleet through quantum-enhanced sensors that could detect the slightest variance in their shield harmonics. They still haven't noticed the gravitational anomalies from our defense platforms, he reported to Earth Command. Their arrogance is making them sloppy. They're not even running detailed scans of the space around their ships. The platforms he referred to were humanity's masterpiece of defensive engineering. Massive structures kept in perfect quantum synchronization, capable of generating localized space-time distortions that could tear a capital ship apart in seconds. To the Craxan sensors, they appeared as nothing more than normal gravitational fluctuations caused by Jupiter's massive magnetic field. Back on Earth, in the Himalayan command bunker, General John Wei received final confirmations from defense installations around the globe. The quantum entanglement network hummed with activity as humanity's military forces completed their final preparations, all while maintaining the carefully crafted illusion of a primitive civilization. Signal from the Craxan flagship, announced his communications officer. They're beginning their broadcast. The general's weathered face showed no emotion as the alien transmission began playing throughout the command center. The message was exactly what they'd expected. A demand for immediate surrender, threats of overwhelming force, promises of mercy in exchange for compliance. Maintain emissions protocols, he ordered. Let them think their message is causing confusion and panic among our leaders. Activate the quantum dampeners. Make it look like we're trying to jam their transmission with primitive radio interference. In her office in Colorado, Dr. Sarah Chen received a priority message from Luna Base. The quantum encryption was so advanced that the Kraxan Empire wouldn't even know it existed, let alone be able to detect or decode it. Final preparations are complete, Commander Patel reported. The NATO swarm is in position. Quantum shields are charged and synchronized. We're ready to execute Operation Pandora on your command. Sarah looked at the holographic display showing the Kraxan fleet, now practically on their doorstep. Humanity had spent generations preparing for this moment, developing technologies that went far beyond what they'd learned from the Brazil crash. They'd taken the Kraxan's fundamental understanding of quantum mechanics and advanced it in directions the Empire had never imagined possible. "Send word to all commands," she ordered, her voice steady. "The moment they launch their first strike against our primitive defenses, we show them what humanity is truly capable of. It's time to remind the galaxy that appearances can be deceiving." Throughout the solar system, humanity's hidden strength waited to be unleashed. The greatest deception in human history was about to reach its culmination, and the Kraxan Empire was about to learn why underestimating humanity was the last mistake they would ever make. Supreme Commander Vaxthor's mandibles twitched with irritation as he reviewed the response to his ultimatum. The humans were reacting exactly as countless other species had before. Their global communications channels were filled with panic, their military forces scrambling in disarray, their leaders attempting to establish emergency protocols. Their primitive attempts at jamming our transmission are almost amusing, First Officer Zixra noted, studying the interference patterns their sensors were detecting. "They're trying to use electromagnetic pulses to disrupt our communications." "Begin the demonstration phase," Vaxthor ordered. "Target their largest military installation. Show them the futility of resistance." As the Eternal Dominion's main weapon systems powered up, deep within Earth's quantum defense network, Dr. Sarah Chen watched with calculated satisfaction. Every move the Kraxan made had been predicted, simulated, and prepared for over decades of planning. "They're targeting Andrews Air Force Base," reported Lieutenant Santos from his station at the quantum tracking array. "Just as we expected. They always go for the most visible military target first." Sarah nodded, opening a secure channel to the base. "Colonel Martinez, are you ready?" The holographic image of Colonel Elena Martinez appeared, her expression confident. "The quantum memetics are in place. When their weapons hit, all they'll see is exactly what they expect: destruction, panic, and chaos. The real base is safely hidden 2 kilometers below ground." Throughout the solar system, humanity's true defensive grid hummed to life. The NATO swarm, billions of microscopic machines floating invisibly in space, began shifting into attack configurations. Quantum-linked defense platforms synchronized their targeting systems, preparing to create localized space-time distortions that would tear apart the Kraxan ships from within. "Primary weapon discharge detected," announced James Chen from Luna Base. "Impact in 5 seconds." The Kraxan beam weapon struck Andrews Air Force Base with devastating force. On their sensors, they saw exactly what they expected: buildings vaporizing, massive explosions, and waves of destruction spreading outward. What they couldn't see was that it was all an elaborate hologram, created by quantum projection technology that made their sensors detect exactly what they expected to find. "Excellent shot, Supreme Commander," Zixra praised. "Their primitive communication channels are in chaos. Their leaders are beginning emergency broadcasts." Vaxthor watched with satisfaction as what appeared to be panicked transmissions filled the Earth's airwaves. His species' natural ability to detect deception through subtle chemical signals had made them overconfident. They never imagined a species could deceive them through purely technological means. In the Mariana Command Center, Dr. Maya Rodriguez monitored the Kraxan fleet's reaction. "They're completely convinced. Their sensors are showing them exactly what we want them to see. Phase 3 is ready to initiate on your command." The quantum computers around her processed data at speeds the Kraxan couldn't even theorize were possible. Their entire understanding of quantum mechanics was based on principles humanity had surpassed decades ago. While they were still struggling to maintain stable quantum fields around their ships, humanity had learned to manipulate the very fabric of space-time itself. All defense grid stations, report status. General Zhang Wei commanded from the Himalayan bunker. One by one, confirmations came in from installations hidden across the solar system. Luna Base, ready. Mars Defense Platform, ready. Jupiter Station, ready. Quantum Swarm, ready. Solar Shield Network, ready. In orbit, Captain Michael O'Connor watched as the Kraxan fleet began repositioning for their main assault. Their ships moved into a standard attack formation, a pattern they'd used successfully thousands of times across their empire. They had no idea that every position they took had been predicted and prepared for. "They're deploying their troop transports," he reported, "preparing for ground invasion exactly as the Brazil data suggested they would." Sarah Chen stood in the Colorado Command Center, watching as all the pieces fell into place. Humanity had spent generations preparing for this moment, developing technologies that went far beyond mere defense. They hadn't just prepared to resist an invasion, they had prepared to end the threat of the Kraxan Empire forever. "Send the final authorization code," she ordered. "The moment they commit their forces to the invasion, we show them what humanity has been hiding all these years." Throughout the solar system, hidden quantum reactors powered up to full capacity. The nanoswarm shifted into its final attack configuration, invisible to Kraxan sensors, but ready to tear through their hull plating at the molecular level. Defense platforms charged their main weapons, devices that could manipulate gravity itself as a weapon. Supreme Commander Vaxthor gave the order to begin the main invasion, completely unaware that he was giving exactly the command Earth's defenders had been waiting for. "Launch all ground forces. Begin the conquest of Earth." As the Kraxan invasion ships descended toward Earth's atmosphere, Dr. Sarah Chen allowed herself a grim smile. "Initiate Operation Pandora," she commanded. "Let's show the Kraxan Empire why humanity's stories about alien invasions always end with Earth's victory." The trap was about to be sprung, and the galaxy's greatest empire was about to learn that they weren't dealing with just another primitive species. They were facing an enemy that had spent generations preparing specifically for this moment. The moment the Kraxan invasion fleet entered Earth's upper atmosphere, humanity's trap snapped shut with devastating precision. In an instant, the carefully maintained illusion of a primitive civilization shattered, revealing the true extent of Earth's defensive capabilities. "Operation Pandora is now active," Dr. Sarah Chen announced, her voice carrying across all quantum-encrypted channels. "Execute simultaneous strike." The first sign that something was wrong came when the Kraxan's quantum shields flickered and died. Their supposedly impenetrable defense systems, which had protected their ships for centuries, simply ceased to exist as humanity's nanoswarm disrupted the very quantum fields that powered them. Supreme Commander Vaxthor's mandibles clicked in alarm as warning signals flooded his bridge. "Impossible. Our shields. All ships reporting critical shield failure." First Officer Zixra shouted, her crystalline data tablet showing cascading system failures across the fleet. "We're detecting some kind of quantum field disruption." But the source. She never finished her sentence. The space around the Kraxan fleet suddenly twisted as humanity's gravitational weapons activated. Massive defense platforms, hidden in dimensional pockets throughout the solar system, generated localized space-time distortions that turned the very fabric of reality into a weapon. From her station on Luna Base, Commander Diana Patel watched as the first wave of Kraxan ships began to break apart. "Gravitational shear is working exactly as designed," she reported. "Their hull integrity can't withstand the spatial distortions." The Kraxan Empire's mighty warships, which had conquered countless worlds, were being torn apart by forces they couldn't even detect. Their sensors, designed to detect conventional energy weapons and shield impacts, were useless against weapons that manipulated the fundamental forces of the universe itself. By the First Empress, Vaxthor gasped as he watched his fleet being systematically destroyed. What kind of demons are these humans? In the Mariana Command Center, Dr. Maya Rodriguez monitored the quantum computer readings with satisfaction. The NATO swarm is now penetrating their secondary systems, she reported, beginning molecular disassembly of their weapon systems. The invisible cloud of billions of microscopic machines, which had been waiting dormant in space, now swarmed through the disabled Kraxan ships. Each Nanobot was capable of breaking down matter at the molecular level, turning the aliens' mighty weapons into useless dust in seconds. Captain Michael O'Connor's voice came through the quantum network from his Jupiter station. Activating the solar shield network now. Let's make sure none of them escape to warn their empire. Across the solar system, hidden quantum arrays powered up, creating a massive energy field that prevented faster-than-light travel. The Kraxan fleet, what remained of it, was trapped. On the bridge of the Eternal Dominion, Vaxthor watched in horror as Earth's true face was revealed. The primitive satellites they detected were replaced by advanced defense platforms. The simple radio transmissions gave way to quantum-encrypted communications their best code breakers couldn't begin to decipher. The supposedly primitive planet had transformed into an impregnable fortress. Supreme Commander, Zixra's voice shook as she reported, "We're detecting quantum technology far beyond our understanding. Their power readings, they're unlike anything in Imperial records." Dr. Sarah Chen opened a direct communication channel to the Eternal Dominion, allowing the Kraxan commander to see her face. "Supreme Commander Vaxthor," she said calmly, "perhaps now would be a good time to discuss your surrender." "How?" Vaxthor demanded, his bioluminescent patches pulsing with fear and confusion. "You were primitive. We saw your technology level, your weapons. You saw what we wanted you to see," Sarah replied. "We've been preparing for this moment since your scout ship crashed in Brazil 70 years ago. Everything you detected about Earth was a carefully crafted deception. We learned from your ship, studied your technology, and then went far beyond it." General Zhang Wei's voice joined the transmission from his Himalayan bunker. "Your empire's greatest weakness is its arrogance. You never considered that a species might hide its true capabilities. You never imagined that your victims might be studying you, preparing for you, waiting for you." Around the Kraxan fleet, the quantum disruption field continued to tear their ships apart. The nanoswarm had disabled their weapons, their shields, and their engines. They were completely at humanity's mercy. "Your empire has conquered thousands of worlds," Sarah continued, "but Earth will not be one of them. You have a choice now, Supreme Commander. Surrender, and we will spare what remains of your fleet. Continue to resist, and we will be forced to demonstrate even more of humanity's hidden capabilities." As if to emphasize her point, several Kraxan ships attempting to flee suddenly vanished, their matter completely dispersed by targeted quantum displacement fields. The message was clear. Humanity wasn't just defending itself. It was demonstrating power that the Kraxan Empire had never dreamed possible. Supreme Commander Vaxthor, leader of the mighty Kraxan invasion fleet, did something no commander had done in the Empire's history. He surrendered to what he had believed was a primitive species, finally understanding that his empire's greatest defeat had been orchestrated by masters of deception who had turned their greatest strengths into fatal weaknesses. 1 month after the failed invasion of Earth, the galaxy was still reeling from the implications of humanity's victory. The quantum-encrypted transmission of the Kraxan fleet's defeat had spread throughout the Empire's territories, sending shockwaves through the established order of the cosmos. In the newly revealed Global Defense Council chamber beneath Geneva, Dr. Sarah Chen stood before representatives from Earth's nations and their unexpected guests, delegates from worlds previously conquered by the Kraxan Empire. The massive underground chamber, with its quantum holographic displays and crystalline architecture, stood as a testament to humanity's hidden advancement. "The age of deception is over," she announced to the assembled dignitaries. "For 70 years, we maintained the illusion of a divided, primitive world. Now, we must decide how to use our revealed strength. Above the chamber, through quantum viewing portals, they could see the captured Kraxan ships being studied in orbital dockyards. The once mighty vessels looked small and vulnerable next to humanity's now revealed space stations and defense platforms. Supreme Commander Vaxthor, now a prisoner of war, stood under guard as he addressed the council. His once proud posture was humbled, his bioluminescent patches dim with shame. The Empire never imagined, never conceived that any species could advance so far while appearing so primitive. Your deception was perfect. Dr. Maya Rodriguez stepped forward, her quantum tablet displaying data from the Mariana Command Center. We didn't just study your technology, she explained. We study your psychology, your tactics, your cultural blind spots. Every aspect of Earth's apparent primitive state was designed to exploit your empire's preconceptions. The delegates from conquered worlds murmured in amazement. Many of them had lived under Kraxan rule for generations, never imagining that any civilization could defeat their oppressors so thoroughly. "But why reveal yourselves now?" asked Ambassador Catal of the Centaurian colonies, his crystalline form refracting light as he spoke. "You could have maintained the deception, allowed other invasion fleets to fall into your trap." General Zhang Wei, now revealed as the head of Earth's unified defense forces, answered from his position at the council table. "Because the galaxy deserves better than living under the shadow of empire. Our victory isn't just about protecting Earth. It's about showing that resistance is possible." In orbit, Commander Diana Patel supervised the integration of freed worlds representatives into the Lunar Defense Network. Through quantum entanglement communications, former Kraxan subjects were learning the truth about humanity's technological achievements and the possibility of standing up to their former oppressors. The nanoswarm technology alone, one alien scientist marveled, studying the microscopic machines that had disabled the Kraxan fleet. "It's beyond anything we imagined possible. And you developed this while maintaining the appearance of primitive satellite technology." "Deception was our greatest weapon," Diana explained. "But now, cooperation will be our greatest strength." Captain Michael O'Connor's voice came through the quantum network from his now revealed Jupiter station. "We're detecting massive shifts in the power structure throughout former Kraxan space. Their subject worlds are rising up, inspired by Earth's victory." Back in the council chamber, Dr. Sarah Chen activated a holographic display showing the known galaxy. Quantum sensors revealed the chaos spreading through the Kraxan Empire as the news of their defeat sparked revolution and resistance across countless worlds. "We offer this choice to the galaxy," she announced to the assembled delegates and the quantum-linked representatives of thousands of worlds. "Earth stands ready to share our knowledge, our technology, and our protection with any world that seeks freedom from empire." Vaxthor watched as his empire crumbled, understanding finally dawning in his compound eyes. "You didn't just defeat our fleet," he said quietly. "You destroyed the very foundation of our power, the belief in our invincibility." "The age of empire is ending," Sarah agreed, "but the age of cooperation is just beginning." In the days and weeks that followed, Earth became a beacon of hope and resistance throughout the galaxy. The carefully maintained facade of a primitive world was replaced by the reality of a civilization that had advanced far beyond its apparent limitations. Humanity's greatest deception had transformed into its greatest gift to the galaxy, proof that even the mightiest empire could be overthrown by those they underestimated. As delegates from formerly subjugated worlds streamed to Earth to learn and ally with humanity, Dr. Sarah Chen stood in her office in the Colorado complex, looking at an old photograph of the crashed scout ship that had started it all 70 years ago. Humanity had turned that moment of potential invasion into an opportunity, spending generations preparing not just for their own defense, but for the liberation of an entire galaxy. The universe would never again mistake humanity's capacity for restraint as a sign of weakness. Earth had revealed itself not as a primitive world ripe for conquest, but as a protector of freedom and a champion of resistance against tyranny. The greatest deception in human history had given birth to the greatest revolution the galaxy had ever known.